Hey everybody, what is going on? It is your boy Izzo33, welcoming you back to the final week of the regular season here in the LEC predictions. 15 games for our super weekend of action to cover, and we've got to get right into the results. Let's talk day one. Oh boy, from last weekend. 4 out of 5. We dropped the final game of the day. Yeah, that was kind of expected, to be honest. As for day 2, oh god. How do I say a big fat duck egg out of 5? In a very soft way. You can't really, can I? 0 out of 5. Bit of a shocker because a lot of them results very close, but it was the day of upset wins, and surprisingly enough, a lot of teams lost that should have realistically won. With that said, let's get into our first prediction of the video. Our opening matchup for this weekend is BDS versus the Misfits. Let's discuss BDS for this one. Straight up, they got their second win in the second to last weekend of action. That's pretty big for them, considering how torrid of a season, hell, this split alone has been for them. I'm gonna be honest, this team's had more luck in the LFL than they've ever had in the LEC, which is kind of why you want to expect them to buy the well, for K-Cup to buy their spot in the LEC. That would be quite good for them, but realistically they are quite a young roster, and they've shown a lot of success when they get certain conditions met. They have a very good early game. That's one of the big things we can say about this team, is early game good. They're Gucci. One thing you cannot say about these teams is they cannot control the late to mid game, because they usually somehow make one mistake that leads to a pick, that leads to essentially the opposition just winning. And against Misfits last time, that's what happened. Misfits were down quite considerably against BDS, and then BDS just threw, and it just led to Misfits dominating this French squad and beating them across the rift, and then ending the game in a dominant fashion. That's my thoughts of BDS's split. And going up against Misfits again, who last weekend, let's be honest, they did decent on day 1 and very well on day 2. Beating out Mad on day 2 was a huge successful thing for them, and VTO is starting to get back into form, and I think this is at the perfect time of the season as we're heading into playoffs in the following weekends. It's gonna be huge. He's getting to his superstardom that is really strong. He's solid, and that's why I've gone with a Misfits win, purely based on the form they're entering here at. And although their future in the league is doomed, considering Team Heretics have bought their spot, they're still so goddamn good. And you have to also praise the coaching staff behind Misfits for how good they've been after what could be considered a poor opening weekends here this split. Our second game of the day sees Fnatic versus Astralis. Playoff place contentions on the line. These two teams going for 6th. Fnatic, you would have thought, would be in the top 3, considering the quality players they've got in this team. And well, they aren't, are they? Let's be honest, they're on the outskirts of playoffs. And Astralis, yet to make playoffs, are also in the same place. But I think Astralis are far more likely to make playoffs instead of Fnatic. And you'll see that later on where I rank Fnatic, but I'll just be honest. I think Fnatic will win this game, although, this is a huge although, it very well may go to Astralis, and I'm going to say this right now. I think Astralis will make playoffs. The third game this weekend is Rogue XL. Again, playoff implications are pretty much going to be on all these games. And so, when we talk about XL, they've had a bit of a rough end of this split, in my opinion. They've gone a bit more explosive in their comps, a little less safe, more aggression. It's not worked out. They've been punished heavily with this style. So, why have they done this? And my only thought is, they think they're securing playoffs, so they're already practicing these new champs that they expect to be strong in playoffs on the new patch. And personally, it could be. But I still don't believe that they'll make playoffs. You have to think about it this way. This weekend, they've got Astralis, playoff matchup, SK, playoff matchup, and Rogue, a matchup that's... This one is one of the least likely playoff implications, in my opinion. But you have to then realize Rogue probably will win this one, giving less chance to XL to make playoffs. And that is huge. So, with me going with a Rogue win, based on the fact that Rogue want to finish first, let's be honest, they want to secure the world spot. I've said this later on, I've already recorded it, baby, but I'm still thinking Rogue will win here, secure for themselves top 2 at least. Game Quattro is Vitality versus SK. Oh baby, this is going to be fun, because I'm going to say it every single game. Playoff implications are on the line here. It's huge, because both these teams are in a battle for 5th, 6th. SK more likely for 6th, Vitality more for 5th/4th. And personally, I do think Vitality will make playoffs, and SK I don't think will make playoffs. SK have gone through a lot of change this split. They've grown more as a team, and I've discussed how impactful Certus has been during the last few weeks in stepping up for the squad to get big performances. Now, I've said that, but so have Vitality. They too have had a player stepping up, and I think Vitality have found their style going into playoffs. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Vitality will probably flop in playoffs like they did last split, because last split they found a style that worked to get them wins to playoffs, but that style didn't work over a best of 5. This split, they have a style, and that's give Alfari a lead, and he'll do all the work. But what happens when teams just draft weak champs into him, like an Ornn or a Sion? They play for bot side, they get bot ahead, and then just destroy the rest of Vitality. It's a very easy style to beat, and yet teams are losing to him because Alfari's just that goddamn good at the game. And I'm gonna be brutally honest here, I think his style being so goddamn good at the game will destroy SK. And this is no... what's the word I'm looking for? Shit talk towards Genax? Like, he's a great player. He's LEC caliber, for Christ's sake. He's made it there. He's role switched from mid to top. And yeah, I think Alfari will stomp top, and Genax hasn't had the best of top sides. He's been very weak side heavy, and and when he does get a carry, it's not the strongest. So I think, and this is a huge I think, Vitality will topside carry and win this game. Let's talk about on the fly prediction changing. In my notes it says Mad win, but I'm going with G2 winning their matchup, and let's talk about this. If G2 win, Mad become less likely to secure first place. Rogue have a fairly easy weekend. They've got BDS in day 2, XL who have struggled day 1, and then they also have Vitality, which is playoff caliber matchup, honestly. Mad, however, have G2, Astralis, and also BDS. I think Rogue have the easier of the matchups this weekend, so they're more likely to go 3-0. Whereas Mad, I think, could throw quite a few games this weekend. And that's why I think I've gone with a G2 win here over Mad Lions. But G2, I don't know, it's weird. Looking at the history books, G2 tend to lose at least one game to Mad in a split and then beat them in the second game. It's always how it's been, and that's how I feel it will go. But Mad also are a team that knows how to beat G2. Niski, unless you shut him down like Larson did, is going to get out of the map and roam and affect top, is going to roam, affect bot. And honestly, G2's bot lane has had a bit of a stumble in recent weeks. They've not been able to keep up with play, and that's been a big hindrance to them, as realistically G2 need to be on the same page for them to be a strong roster, and personally they could very much and very well not make it to back-to-back finals. Who knows? But yeah, let's move into day 2. So we've kind of covered all the teams in the previous day. Let's just rattle on through day 2. Rogue are gonna beat BDS. I don't really want to spend time on that matchup. Mad versus Astralis, I've gone with a Mad win. SKXL is a playoff contender. Believe it or not, it's a playoffs matchup that's got a lot of eyes on it. Who do I think is winning? Well, I've gone XL. I'm just going to say that that will eliminate SK from contention. Game number 4, Vitality versus Fnatic. That's a banger. And Perks will stop Fnatic making playoffs. That's just poetic if you think about it. And game number 5, day 2, is Misfits versus G2. I've gone with Misfits beating G2 here. And the last time, or one of the last times these two teams faced off, G2 absolutely threw a massive goal lead against them. That was in spring, I believe, where the Yumi, Akali, VTO destroying them happened. Good memories. But Misfits usually do good against G2 in recent years, so I've gone with a Misfits win. Let's move into our final day of action. Hopefully, we see some bangers. It's time for the bonus day of action that makes it a super weekend. We're going to cover the first 2 matchups really quickly. Mad versus BDS and Astralis versus XL. I'm just going to say this right now. Mad beats BDS. We don't need to care about that matchup. XL versus Astralis is where things are at. This is going to be a close one, because I think this could determine that 6th place playoff spot. You've got 4 teams vying for this spot essentially, and both these teams are in that contention. Who do you think I've gone with to get that slot? The team that's had a dominant early split, that's had a bit of a tantrum during the mid split and kind of flopping at the end of this split? Or the team that's just been okay in Astralis? Well, I've gone with an Astralis win here over XL, and this may surprise a lot of you. Here is my playoffs, because we're going to cover SK and G2 and Misfits and Fnatic in a bit, but my playoffs locked in terms of where everyone's finishing is Rogue, Mad, G2. That's the top 3. Then you've got Misfits in 4. 5th, I think, will be Vitality. And then 6th, it's going to be Astralis. I think Astralis are making their first playoffs here. XL in recent weeks have kind of struggled. And when they go wacky and zany, they fumble. And I know they're getting practice in for playoffs. But you have to realize this. We've just gone to a new patch last weekend. And it's slightly different. You're seeing a lot more Sivir and a lot less Draven. It's a Sivir versus Zeri bot lane. That's what's been played across the globe. The LPL style. It's there. And so going these wacky Draven picks, the Jannas and the Enchanters, is not very strong right now. It's strong, don't get me wrong, it's very aggressive and very easy to punish. But teams are going for more meta, considering every game matters. I've said the line, oh god. But yeah, I've gone with Astralis winning here, and it's going to be down to just Mr. Consistent in the bot lane. Kobe just playing it smart, playing it safe, and Astralis winning off that. So let's get into our matchup of the week. Vitality taking on Rogue. This is going to be a bit of a fun one, let's be honest. Rogue have probably guaranteed themselves top 2 at this point after what could be considered an easy matchup against BDS. And then on day 1, obviously, them facing XL, who have been struggling as of late. Going up against Vitality, who is gonna probably be one of the playoff teams. I'm not sure, let's be honest. Everything is up in the air. But I think Rogue should win this one. And who knows, we may see this in playoffs. And I cannot wait to see an unleashed Rogue who isn't picking Azir all the time against a Vitality who play very heavily to the top lane. So I should probably say my prediction here now. I've gone with a Rogue win. Gonna be brutally honest, Rogue seemed to be one of those teams that do good last week, and realistically this is where they solidify for themselves a playoffs like top 2 or a number 1 seed going into playoffs. That's what they do, and if they do that here, good job Rogue, you've made it to Worlds for another season in a row. That's pretty poggers, and honestly it probably would mean another Rogue jersey for me. But yeah, my prediction is a Rogue win as we head into our second to last matchup for the weekend. Let's cover the last 2 games of this weekend. SKG2 and Fnatic versus Misfits. That's a good game to round out the split. And the reason is, you've already know where I've placed Fnatic. And so you know where that prediction's going. It's going to Misfits. And G2 versus SK, you already know I predicted G2 making top 3 and SK not making playoffs. They could realistically win this game, SK, but it doesn't matter. I've gone with G2 and Misfits winning after I've revealed my master plan in the previous predictions. Yeah, good job me. So let's round out this episode here. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, the artwork done by Akitason. Follow her on Instagram, follow her on YouTube. I think I've put the YouTube one in this time. And as such, thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new and wherever you want to. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.